Hello everybody and welcome back. So today I'm surrounded by all sorts of props. I'll explain them in a minute. Today's flow is going to be for people that have spondylolisthesis. What is that? So let's imagine that this is our spine, okay? It's very far from it, but let's imagine that it is two vertebrae. This is one vertebra and this is another vertebra. In my case, I'll talk about my case. This is L5, the last vertebra of your lumbar spine, and this is S1, the first vertebra of your sacral spine. They are usually like so. This is me, this is the front, and this is the back, yeah? So imagine these are my vertebrae. They are usually like that. You know, there's the disc in the middle. In my case, the L5 has gone forward, like so. Ouch. So basically, spondylolisthesis, it's a slippage of the vertebra. It goes forward. My case is 25%, so it's between type 1 and type 2. There's 4 types. And you know, the more it goes, the more problematic it might be. So I like to refer to us as the spondy people. It's just easier. So today's class is going to be for these people, but by all means this class is for everybody, because what we're going to be focusing on is strengthening the core. It's going to be a fire flow. We're going to use the Kali Mudra to invite that fire, this fearlessness, to build this kind of stability corset around our little problem there, which might not be so little, as you know. This can have all sorts of effects down your leg, also depending on which nerves, because then we have nerves coming out of those places back there, and if the vertebra has gone forward, the space where these nerves come out from could be narrowed, and then it's going to make the muscles that these nerves innervate have some pain or has some flaring. In my case, it's more like a flaring thing. It flares up sometimes. Right, so basically what we're going to do is try to go against that. So people that have this usually have this kind of situation. A big lordosis here, because the vertebra has gone forward and then this happens. So we're trying to recover. We're actually going even further than what it's supposed to be. We're going to encourage this kind of thing, yeah? So you're going to tell that vertebra to go back, kind of. For that, we will for sure need a block or something like that, a big book that creates some elevation. One block. A roller would be nice. If you don't have a roller, that block should be sufficient. Some kind of cushioning could be helpful for one of the options for Savasana we're going to do today. So lots of cushioning, 1, 2, 3, 4 pillows maybe, or in a big fat cushioning situation. And if you have one of these bad guys, this would be amazing. This is really, really, really good. If you don't have it, don't worry, you can still do the practice. You're just going to have to be even more mindful, because what the ball does is that, well, you'll see. Anything else that I would like to say? No, I think that's it. The ball is coming back to me. Go away. So, let's find our comfortable seated position for now. Close your eyes. Allow all this information to settle, let go of everything, and try to bring your awareness to the breath. Top of the head towards the sky, sit bones towards the center of the earth. If you feel like you're already going into your habitual, like sticking your butt out kind of thing, try to come out of it. So already bring this corset idea into your body. And let's, as I said, activate this Kali Mudra. Kali is the goddess of destruction of everything and anything that doesn't serve you anymore, so you can create space for what you do want to have. So So it's connected with fire. Fire has the power to destroy, to transform, to purify, to cleanse. And that's very much the idea that we're going to be working around today. This creation of strength, of power, of fire. And Kali is going to help us to destroy any pain and take us away from that and towards health. Stay for a few moments with that idea, let that sink in your body and your mind. You're saying to yourself, okay, this is what I'm going to be doing today. This is what I'm going to be focusing on today. That's my focus, that's my goal, my sankalpa, my intention. Very selfish one. Today you're focusing on you. You're going to make yourself better. But that's also not so selfish after all, because only when you are okay, when you're healthy, when you're happy, when you're pain-free, only then you can actually be of service and help other people. Right? So it's not that selfish after all. And as you take the next inhale, bring the palms of the hands together, still in front of the chest. And as you take the next exhale, allow the chin to drop closer to the chest. Inhale to gently blink the eyes open. And then as you exhale, release your hands on your legs or on the mat, wherever you prefer. As you take the next inhale, fly your hands up towards the sky. Keep your core very active. Interlace the fingers and then send the palms of the hands up towards the sky. Try not to go into extension of the spine. Try to stay with your core very active, and then let's try to activate it even more by taking the torso towards your right side. Inhale to come up, exhale to go to the other side. Core active. Inhale center, exhale to twist to the right. Again, avoid any arching, stay with your core very activated. Inhale center, exhale to the other side. Inhale center, exhale, let go of the arms. Shake it off a little bit. Let's go again. Inhale, fly the arms around and up. Interlacing the fingers now with the other thumb on top. Send the palms of the hands up towards the sky. And then as you exhale, go now towards your left side, so the other side. Inhale, center. Exhale. Keeping the ribs in. Inhale. Exhale to twist. Waking up your core already from the get-go. Inhale, center. Exhale to the other side. Inhale, center. Exhale to release. Good. Let's go a little bit more into the hips now. So bring your heels mat width apart. Knees bent, quite relaxed, easy pose. And then just allow the legs to go from side to side. Releasing any tension we might store in our hips. inviting some external and internal rotation. So I'm going to speak now about the right leg. It is externally rotating, and now it is internally rotating. And just go like that from side to side. Inviting movement, lubricating that joint. And then from this one, we cross the legs at the shins, transfer the weight onto your hands, keep your hands under your shoulders and your knees under your hips for your tabletop. Whatever you do, don't go into extension, or let's say hyperextension of your back. I shouldn't even be doing it. Keep your core very active. Remember, we want to keep this out of our habitual lordosis, yeah? We want to exaggerate that, let's say. So, let's take an inhale and take the top of the head and the sit bones towards the sky. But, because we don't want to go into that point where we know that we naturally like to bend, we're going to try to distribute the arch everywhere. So from the top of the head to the sit bones. Keep the core active. So you might not open as much as you usually do, but you're doing it in a very safe and stable way. Your core is active. Don't drop the belly down. I know you hear that a lot of times, drop your belly down as you do your cow. Don't. For us body people, don't. And then as you exhale, engage the core even more. Now this one we want to do. We want to do a lot of this. Bring the knee towards the chest. Inhale to bring it down. Open. Core active. Take it more up towards your chest. Exhale. And bring the left knee towards the forehead. Chest, forehead. Just flex your trunk. Inhale to open. One more to each side. Exhale. Inhale. Open. Think about opening the chest, but still keep activating that core. Exhale. Inhale to open one last time. And as you exhale, find your neutral. Let's send our toes onto the floor. And then as you exhale, hips up towards the sky. Finding your first down dog. Taking a few movements here, a few walks in place. So bending one knee, lengthening the other. All the while pushing the floor away with all 10 fingers. And using the same movement to slowly start making your way towards the top of the mat. This one is also very good. As you can see, we're going against our natural loving lordosis that we like to do back there. So that one really activates the opposite curve. Encourages the opposite curve. Now here, this is also a very good one. You're gonna grab the elbows and just keep bending one knee, lengthening the other, and that naturally makes the torso sway from side to side, creating space on the sides of the trunk. Which hopefully will also create space if we have any narrowing of the root, of the nerve roots that exit from the spine. By stretching the sides, we are also hopefully opening or encouraging some space to be created back in there, so much deeper. Let go, visiting a little bit of the neck, so just looking from right to left. Side to side, right ear to the right shoulder, left ear to the left shoulder. And then let go, a few yeses. Release, stay the weight of your head, the weight of your torso on top of your legs. Activate the core, press the feet into the earth, and start sending the top of the head up towards the sky, all the way. Open the chest a little bit, but don't go into boom, you know what I mean? Keep all of this very stable. And then as you exhale, come into your Tadasana. So we don't want to just completely ignore from now on all back extension. At least for my case, I want to keep some range of motion back there. I don't ever want to not be able to do that, right? So I want to still do that, but I want to keep this corset all around, this belt very, very stable. So I try to do as least as possible from there and as much as possible from everywhere else. Because the spine still needs to extend, right? It's a healthy thing to do. But we're going to do it in a very clever way, yeah? So, having said that, let's move into our first Surya Namaskar A. So, inhale, engage the glutes, engage the core, and send your chest up, your sternum up. Let's remove the arms so we don't make it more complicated than what it needs to be. We're just trying to open this part, but keep this active. Keep this going forward. The glutes. And then as you exhale, bending from the hips, the chest takes you forward and down. Inhale, same story here. We're going to create some extension in the back, but we try to move it somewhere else. We try not to do it just in that spot where we like to extend. Exhale, send your feet back. Inhale here in plank. Strong core. As you exhale, lower your knees, your chest, and your chin, but try to avoid this overextended spine. So you try to keep your spine still very, very long. We try not to open back bend too much here. Inhale. We will back bend now, but as we said before, try to do it more in the chest, not so much in the lower back. So maybe don't go as much as you usually do. Exhale to lower down. Inhale to transition. Exhale, down dog. As you inhale, float your right foot up towards the sky. Keep the core active. Don't allow the core to collapse. Exhale, bring your right knee towards the forehead. Forehead towards the right knee. Stay in down dog. Inhale to float it up. Don't go into extension of the back. Exhale to bring it down. Inhale the left foot now. Core is active. Exhale, left knee towards the forehead. Inhale, stand it all the way up. Away from your hands, keep the core, ribs in. Exhale to bring it down. Inhale in dog. Exhale, bend the knees and look forward. Inhale, step, step. Open the chest. Remember, exhale, Uttanasana. Now this one you can do as much as you want. It's really good for spondy people. Inhale, the top of the head is going to take you up. Now this one you can do as long as you do it carefully. So you have to engage the core. Open. And of course it depends how much your vertebra has slipped forward, right? Exhale to release. Good. Let's try a few Surya Bs now, having all of this idea in mind. Inhale to find your chair pose. Exhale, Uttanasana. Inhale to open. Core is active. Exhale, plank. Inhale here. Exhale. Do again, knees, chest, and chin if you like. Or maybe try a full chaturanga. Core is very active. Inhale. Only go into upward facing dog if you really feel like you have the control in your core. This is really hard. If you feel like this is not good enough, it's not good yet for you, stay in the cobra and do a little cobra. You don't need to go too high. If you want to go a bit further, you feel like you have the control all around your core, by all means, do your upward facing dog. But you see, I'm not going into my full one. I can go a lot more, but I'm staying safe in my core. I want my vertebra to go anywhere. I want it to stay where it is, and if possible, to go back to where it belongs. And then as you exhale, send your hips back up into your down dog. Inhale, the right foot floats. Parallel hips. Exhale, bring the right knee towards the chest. Again, we engage that core. It's all about the core today. Take a nice long inhale here. Exhale to lower the foot close to the right hand. From here, take an inhale to rise up into almost high lunge, but we don't go as much. We just stay there. Exhale to lower. Inhale, core active. Exhale. Inhale, top of the head is going away from the left heel. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Here, let's take the torso from side to side, keeping the legs as they are. So you go to the right, it's a little bit hard because the leg is there. You go to the left, just creating some movement. And then, joining the two together, we go for a few circles. So the torso is making the circles. And then we'll reverse. So we do about 3 to each side. Let go. Take an inhale here. Exhale, send your foot back and straight away into knees, chest and chin or chaturanga. Inhale into cobra or upward facing dog. Keep your core active, glutes active. Don't go into your maximum. Stay far, far from it. Exhale to your down dog. Inhale, the left foot floats. Exhale, the left foot close to the chest. Take an inhale here, bring the knee closer to you. Exhale to lower the foot. And we do the same thing that we did on the first side. Inhale to almost find high lunge. Exhale to lower. Inhale. Keep your pelvis going forward. Exhale to lower. So we try not to do that. We try to do that. Inhale. So it's called the posterior tilt of the pelvis. Exhale. The last one. Inhale. Exhale. And we go from side to side with the torso. So we find our left, right, left. Feels weird. Stay with it. Experiment. We go for a few circles of the torso. Reversing. Feel the leg working. Keep the hips low. And then find your low lunge. Take a nice long inhale there. Keep the posterior tilt of your pelvis. And then as you exhale, send the foot back. Take an inhale in plank. Exhale, knees, chest and chin or chaturanga. Inhale, cobra or upward facing dog. Strong core. Keep the posterior tilt of the pelvis. Exhale, down dog. Take a few breaths here. Keep sending your sit bones away from your hands and your hands away from your sit bones. This is also encouraging the creation of space between your vertebrae. Exhale to bend the knees and look forward. Inhale to step, opening the chest as you arrive. And as you exhale, releasing. Inhale, find your strong, safe Utkatasana chair pose. You can even remove the arms so you keep a not very hyperextended back. And then as you exhale, going into your Tadasana. From here, we do another good one for our spondy situation. Inhale to open the chest. So what I mean by posterior tilt is this. You see, this is why I'm wearing these straps today. So they are straight now, and for us, spondy people, we try to exaggerate that going forward. So we keep that, yeah? And especially when we're going to the back. So inhale, create space up here, send your chest up, your rib cage up away from your pelvis, but send this forward. So you see there's not a lot of curving here. Of course there is, but we don't overdo it. And then as you exhale, bending from the hips, go down. Keep your legs stretched for this one, and then grab whatever you can grab. This one is safe. For spondy situations, this one is safe, so no worries. Just grab your ankle, your calves, your ankles, or maybe your big toes even, whatever you can grab while keeping the knees long. And we just release. So people with bulging discs and stuff like that, that kind of stuff usually happens to the back. The bulging of the discs usually goes posteriorly towards your back, right? So flexion might be a bit more problematic for these people. What we're doing right now is flexion. For us, it's the best. So flexion, flexion, flexion is good if we do it, correctly and all of that, because then we also don't want to create another problem, which would be like a bulging disc or something like that. And we want to not completely avoid extension altogether, but do it maybe less and in a very safe, controlled way. So in a way, it's kind of the opposite. Bulging discs, the therapeutic exercises for bulging discs is the opposite of therapeutic exercises for spondy people. I mean, generally speaking, of course, it's not that simple, but it's a good way to see it. As you inhale, the top of the head is going to go out and about. Exhale the hands onto the hips, and then as you inhale, float all the way up, opening the chest as you arrive. Exhale to release. Good. Let's flow a little bit more. Inhale, float your chest up. If you want to include your arms, go for it. But remember, we're not going into our usual back bending that we love to do. We try to stay a little bit more closer to vertical. Exhale, the chest takes us forward and down. Inhale to lengthen the spine. Exhale to send the right foot to the back. And we find ourselves in our low lunge. Two options. Stay here. Another option would be the full plank. Now, very important to strengthen the core. For some people, depending on your degree of slippage, how far the vertebra has gone forward, this is really not possible, and it hurts and it's painful and all that, so just don't do it. With spondy, we want to avoid pain. For me, this one is very good because it's helping me to strengthen my obliques. I'm keeping my posterior tilt of the pelvis, so my glutes are clenched against each other, like I'm holding a piece of paper between my butt cheeks. And I feel like I'm strengthening my side core, which is good, side, front and back. Always strengthen all around, for anything, but especially for spondy people. Then, try to bring that left foot to the front as slowly as possible. And now, inhale to find your high lunge. But Bruno, we're going into back extension. Yes, we are, but in order to avoid what we keep talking about, going into our spot that we like to bend from, we can bend our back knee, send your pelvis forward, and now we are doing something that we spondy people should do a lot, which is stretching the hip flexors on the right side. But try to do that without going into overextending the spine. Yeah? So we try to stay with this there, pelvis going forward, bending a little bit the back knee, going low with the hips, and maybe we don't need to do that. We can keep the hands in front of the chest and breathe. Usually people that have spondylolisthesis have too big of a lordotic curve in the lower back. Usually people that have lordosis, they have tight hip flexors. So it's good to stretch them. Keeping the core. Exhale to go down. Now another thing that gets a little bit tight is your TFL, your tensor fascia latae here on the side. So send your left foot to the side like so, and try to keep a 90-degree angle between your legs, or as close as possible to that, and then lower your hip and play here with the angle. So I feel it more if I take my torso a little bit forward. So if I don't stay here, but I go a little bit forward. Then I can even go onto my forearms, and I'm really feeling it on the outside of my leg, outside of my hip. And just breathe into it. Try to find a balance between having your left leg lengthened, extended, but also not super tense. So we have to tense this in order to lengthen the knee, right? That's their job. But at the same time, not over tense it, if that makes sense. So try to find some sort of release there. You can even massage it against the mat. And if you engage your core, you feel the stretch even more. Good. Let's come out of it gracefully. Place that left foot again in your low lunge. Bring your right foot in, open the chest. Wow, I feel a massive difference between my left and my right legs. And then as you exhale, send the left foot back, finding your low lunge. And then two options again. We either stay there, or we move onto our Savasana. Stay here on the side. You can see I'm avoiding this and I'm encouraging this. So sending my pubic bone up and my tailbone down. Tailbone towards the feet, pubic bone towards the nose. This way you're safe. Right hip stacked above the left. Then, as slowly as you can, bring that right foot to the front. Core. From here, inhale and find your high, safe high lunge. 90-degree angle, or as close as possible to that on the front leg. The back knee is bent, just to make sure that we don't do too much of that. So this is why we bend them, and anyways you will make the position a lot stronger by bending that knee. And then we keep sending the pelvis forward, posterior tilting. Just by doing this, I already feel a massive stretch here, and that's what we want to achieve with this one. Then ribs in, and then stay there. Now let's keep it yoga. Now, of course you can do that by all means. Keep the hands in front of the chest, or here, or do whatever you want. But now, just going to keep it here so we focus on what the main thing is about this asana. Also, this action is good. You bring the right hip back and the left hip forward, all the time keeping the lower back as long as possible. Exhale to go down. Now on the side you can see a little bit better. Send the right foot to the side. Now my spondy situation mostly affects my right side. And the nerves that come out of the L5-S1 space back there are going to the TFL and the glutes and this whole situation here. So this one for me is a killer. I'm going to stop talking and breathe more. You do the same. So you see that maybe, I mean, at least for me, I don't know how it is with you, I have pain or some like a lightning bolt pain, sensation thing flaring up in my glutes and my TFL. And because of that also my IT band, because the IT band is just the tendon of the TFL muscle. And maybe you don't have any problem on those muscles themselves. The problem is the nerve that goes into those muscles. That, what's the word that I'm missing here? That irrigates? No, that's not what nerves do. Whatever the nerves do. So the nerves that go into these muscles, that's basically it. They come out of that space between the L5 and the S1, which is where I have the narrowing. So this is why I have this pain there. The muscles are fine. It's the nerve that goes into the muscles, I think. No, I'm pretty sure of that. So from there, just come up. Bring that right foot close to the right leg. Take an inhale to bring the left foot forward, open the chest. And then as you exhale, release down. Inhale, top of the head takes you up. Strong core, strong legs. Open the chest, keep the pelvis going forward. Exhale to release. From here, take your left foot back, facing the longer side of your mat. Keep both of your feet, the outside edges of your feet, parallel to the outside edges of the mat. Open your legs as much as you want. Inhale, again here. Glutes engage, pelvis goes forward, so you create some space here, but not going into the lower back. Exhale, bend from the hips. And now you're going to try to target a bit those inner thigh muscles. For sure the hamstrings as well, but try to find an angle or an opening of the feet that allows you to target more those inner thigh muscles. For me, it's right here. Core is engaged. Then you can have the hands here, you can have the hands back, you can have the hands on your ankles, on your big toes. That's quite irrelevant for what we're trying to achieve here. So just find where is that spot for you and breathe into those inner thigh muscles. Keep the legs long, keep the core active. Keep the inner arches of your feet lifted and keep rooting down towards the outside edge. Keep rooting down through the outside edges of your feet. You also feel a nice stretch here on this whole outside part of your lower leg. Inhale to come out of it. Maybe release a bit in your hips. Exhale, hands onto the hips. Inhale, open. Glutes engage. Exhale. Bring that left foot towards the front. And finding your Tadasana just for a little bit before we go back down again. Alright, and then from here, if you have your eyes closed, just blink them open. As you exhale, root down through your feet, spread your toes. Inhale, open the chest and your glutes forward, pelvis forward, space in the lower back. Exhale, the chest leads the way forward, bending from the hips, stay more on the toes than on the heels. Inhale to lengthen the spine. Exhale, send your feet back and go straight away into your chaturanga or knees, chest and chin. Inhale into your cobra or upward facing dog. Everything under control. Exhale into your downward facing dog. Good. From here, either jump through or go into your knees and go onto your back, like so. And from here, we're just going to focus even more on the core, okay? And we're gonna do several different things, different levels, and you just follow along or you stick with the one that you like. If you see there's something that's a little bit too advanced for you, you just do again the ones before, okay? So there's a little bit for everybody. We're going to just start by discovering the posterior tilt. Here it's easy because we have the feet back from the floor. So neutral, posterior, neutral, tilt, neutral, tilt. And really, really, maybe even close your eyes so you become really familiar with this. So in my case, the L5 has slipped forward in relation to my S1. So I like to imagine while I'm doing this and I'm telling my dear L5 to, hey, go back, go back. Of course it doesn't work like that, but you know what I mean. We want it to go even more. We want it to stay where it is. People, most of the physios and doctors have told me that it's not really possible that it goes back into place. It is my belief that if you, I don't know, I really like to believe that somehow I can help it go back into place. Why not? I mean, but regardless, we just don't want it to slip even more to the front, right? So by doing this kind of stuff, you encourage the opposite motion. Good. And you go a bit forward, a bit further. We bring the right knee to the chest, and the left, maybe you can hold it. This should feel really nice, because again, everything that goes against that lordosis of the lower back should feel good because it's opening up those spaces of the nerve, where the nerve roots come from, where the nerve roots are, basically. That usually they are narrowed because of our spondy situation. And that's called stenosis, by the way. The narrowing of the nerve canals. Maybe we can do both knees at the same time. Keep the core engaged. And then we're going to place the feet on the floor. Keep the breath going. Have your hands on your lower back, somewhere there for some support. Lift your elbows off the floor and try to raise your nose towards the ceiling. So we're not going there, we're going towards the ceiling. And shoulder blades come off the floor. Exhale, inhale. Exhale, inhale. Maybe let's just hold the last one. Strengthening the front side of the core. Exhale to release. Good. From here, let's start with the right leg. A bit more back. The right leg, and you're going to raise it. Simple as that. Both sides of the pelvis, of the sacrum, are on the floor. Then we just kind of do movements with the ankle. Maybe the nerves that innervate, that's the word. The nerves that innervate the muscles that go down your leg, maybe towards the foot, they are a little bit, how to say that, the space where they come out from the spine is a little bit narrowed. So this might be challenging, depending also on the angle of your leg. For me, the further up I go, the more challenging it is, and especially on the right side. My whole issue is on the right side. So, you've had enough on one side. Wow. I really feel the difference, because when I do it on the left leg, so let's go now the left leg. Almost like I could be sleeping now. It's really no effort at all. But the other side is really crazy. And that's usually something that happens, like weakening of the limb. So in my case, it's of the right leg. My right leg is a little bit weaker than the left. And then on top of everything, my left leg is a little bit longer than my right. So it's a bunch of things. But we try to work around them, with them, not around them, but with them. Okay, after a while, even this side starts to be quite challenging. Good, let go of that one. Have a little moment here. Feel your legs, feel your hips, feel your sacrum heavy on the floor. And now is the moment where we're going to use that Terra ball, if you have one, the Pilates ball, whatever you call these amazing things. This is the best. If you can buy these things, it's really, I really advise. you to do that. So, what we're going to do with this ball is not something that you can't do. So, what we're going to do, you can do without the ball. The ball just helps you to stay safer in your lower back. So if you don't have a ball, you can do these next exercises without the ball. Okay? I just want to show you because this is really the best, because it allows you to work the core and do all the nice things that we're going to do without going too far. So you don't need to think about stabilizing and controlling and all of that as much as you would if you wouldn't have the ball. Then you really need to work extra hard, which is great. But this just makes it all very safer, much safer, sorry. Already this is amazing. For spondy people, again, anything that allows us to go against our natural lordotic curve is good. So now we're encouraging the opposite, and this is already amazing. If you can relax here, but we're still working. So we're going to engage the core, grab the ball, and then bring it up. So obviously you can do this without the ball. It just gives you more feedback also, and allows you to not go further than what you should. Bringing it up, down, up, and down. Make sure that you grab it really well because it tends to escape. Keep the core going. Lower back firmly rooted into the earth. And you do a few beats. You let go, relax the legs on the leg, relax your thighs. And then we do the torso. So maybe cross the hands on the shins, oh my god, on the shoulders, and then rise up. Exhaling to go, inhaling to come back. Exhale, Savasana, inhale, release. Exhale. You can even let go of the hands. And again, you can just imagine how you could easily do this without the ball, right? So not having the ball is no excuse to not do this stuff. You just need to be a lot more mindful. Let go, breathe, adjust your hair. Now we're going to join the two together. So legs towards the torso and torso towards the legs. All we're doing is strengthening the core. This ball tends to escape. And release. Relax, place the hands on your belly, give it some love. So again, these might be really, really a lot for some of us because again, there is a reason why we have that situation going on in our back, and that reason could be that this part of our core is not strong enough. So it allowed that slippage to happen. I mean, it could be many, many things, but that could be one thing. So it's very important to strengthen this front wall of your core. Let's do one more. So we work more on the obliques. So it's exactly the same thing, but then the left elbow is going to go towards the right knee, and the right elbow towards the left knee. Let's go. Keep breathing. know about you, but I really feel it on my abs, on my obliques, this whole area here. Now, as I said, depending on how much your vertebra has slipped forward and all of that, and how much pain you have, and how active you are as a person in general, I wouldn't advise you to go into back extensions. In my case, I'm an active person, and I want to still have some range of motion back there. I want to still be able to extend my back, right? But I want to do it safely. So the muscles that run up and down the spine, we have lots of them. We have deeper layers, we have even deeper layers than those, and we have superficial layers. There's a lot of stuff happening back there. We've got multifidus is one of them that goes along all the vertebrae and brings and keeps everything in place. And these muscles are more proprioceptive and stabilizers muscles than they actually create movement. Of course, all these muscles, if they create any movement, is mostly extension and a bit of rotation as well. I want to keep those muscles strong, and I want to keep working them. So, place my torso on the ball, and we're going to do after a few exercises without the ball. So, if you don't have a ball, don't worry. If you do, and then you just raise one leg. But keep your pubic bone pressing against the ball. And then into the other leg. Exhaling as you go up. How about both? Let's see where I can put my legs here. So anchor yourself. Working the glutes, always a good thing, regardless whether you have spondy or not. And then we can do the opposite, lowering the legs and going up with the torso. So as you can see, we're not really going into this huge back bend, it's quite small. And some would say it's not even a back bend. Of course we are back bending because we're going from this into this, so we are bending the back, right? But it's not a very big one. We just want to make sure that these muscles are still there, active, working, stable, strong, able to support us. And you can feel them if you place your hands there. And I love this stuff. I love to be able to feel the muscle working and imagining that I'm strengthening it, so it's keeping my vertebrae in place. You can also do some rotations. One side is a lot harder than the other, no surprise there. Keep pressing the pubic bone into the ball, please. Good. So, this was our ball sequence. Of course, you can do all these things without the ball. And now we're going to just finish it up with a little bit of extension still. So, from your tabletop, send your left foot back and your right hand forward. Don't lift your leg, keep it at the same level as your torso or even lower. All we're doing here is strengthening the muscles of the back, because we still want those guys to be strong. They are also part of the core. Exhale to release. And then lifting the right foot and the left hand. See, maybe one side is easier than the other. If the whole torso parallel to the floor. Keep the top of the head going away from the sit bones and keep the breath going. Exhale to release. You can make this one a little bit harder by placing a block under one knee. And now we're going to really target the multifidus muscle. Let's say it's the left knee. So we're going to work the right multifidus by just raising that knee parallel to the left and then sending it back together with the left hand. It's a minor difference, but it's a difference. The muscle is working a little bit harder. Keep the core going. Don't relax your core. Your core is never not active during today's practice. It's just activating more or less, but it's always active. Exhale to release. And then switching. So first bring the knee to the same level as the other one. This is already a good first stage. And if you want to go further, send it back together with the opposite hand. Keep the posterior tilt of the pelvis going. Exhale to release. Lower yourself down carefully. Through the side. Release your hips. And also, if you don't have that ball, you can also do Superman variations. So, we can do right leg and left leg and right hand. And then the opposite, or you can include the chest. You can do just the torso. You can do just the legs. You can also do rotations. And then you can do the whole thing together. In order not to keep the class too long, I'm not going to do these ones fully. I just want to make sure that we understand not everybody that has spondy can do these things. Already this position that I'm doing now, for some people, is not so good. Because what are we doing? We are going further into that curve that we should go away from, right? So all these things, all we're doing is strengthening the muscles of the back. In my case, and in most cases, I would say that we still want to have those guys very strong. So if you don't have a ball, you can do all these variations of Superman or Savasana in more yogic terms. But always make sure that you are doing, look at this, not that, but this. Can you see the difference? You're sending your pubic bone towards the earth. Boom. So you try to raise everything up and all that, but from here up. We try to stay with this part of the spine as long and as stable as possible, and we lift from the other parts of the chain, yeah? So do all of this, but always engage the core. And don't go to your maximum, don't go as high as you used to go before you knew that was a bad thing for you, right? Because for people that have bulging discs, again, all these things, back bends are good, and in general, back bending is better for your back than flexing. But we are special people. So for us, it's the actual opposite. We are better off flexing as long as we do it from a lengthened spine and all that. Of course, we don't want to be curving all the time. Then extending. Okay? Good. So let's stretch a little bit more. Forward folding, as I just said, is always a good thing for us. So let's go into a Paschimottanasana. Also, create length first, as everybody else. Create length first, and then go. Grab the mat, Grab the ankle, grab the foot, whatever you can grab, and just linger there in the stretch. In your mind's eye, really imagine your vertebrae going away from each other. Create space. Give those nerve roots a little more space to exist. So they can better innervate the muscles that they have to innervate. It's always a balance, isn't it? You want to open that back part, but also we don't want to curve our back so much that eventually we're going to make it so that one of the discs is going to pop out. So we don't want that, right? So this is why I believe in a 360 degree work and therapeutic approach. We want to strengthen everything. The front, the back, the sides. We want to strengthen the big toe as well as the pinky. You know, we shouldn't focus just on where the pain is or the problem is, but we should work on the whole body. And this is why I think yoga is such a great tool, because I'm not there just doing like core exercises, bam, bam, bam. I'm doing a whole sort, I'm focusing on my breath, I'm doing a few Surya Namaskars, I'm lengthening other parts of the system, because our body is just a system, right? And if something is not working on one part, it doesn't mean that we should only focus on that part. We should focus on the whole thing, holistically. And this is why I really like this practice. Yoga, that is, because it allows me to work my whole body, my breath. I'm able to access my mind as well, and not just be there, I need to work on this little spot all the time. No, you should work on everything. Of course, paying special attention to whatever it is not going so well at the moment, but don't take all of your energy there. It's also not a good thing. Inhale to come out of it. Target a bit more the outside of the hip, so bring the left foot on top of the right quad. Right foot on the floor, and figure 4. Make sure that you're flexing your left foot. And try to bring your chest closer to your shin. Lots of breathing. And then switching it up. Now, as I keep saying, this is my not so good side, let's say. So my TFL these days, the IT tract, so this whole outside of the right leg is acting up. I believe it's because the nerve that innervates this area of my body is being squeezed back there by the narrowing of the space. Because I don't think there's anything wrong with the muscle itself or with the tendon itself. So yeah, I try to stay away from the pain. So I don't go as far. Like here I'm feeling it flaring up, so I step away from it. With spondylolisthesis, you want to stay away from pain. Okay? So this is important. Not everything, you know, some pains are good, but in our case, pain is not good. So get out of it. If it hurts, don't do it. So I step back a little bit. And I breathe. Letting go. Find yourself on your back. Gently lower yourself down, and then send your legs towards the left. Send your left hip under you towards the bottom of the mat, and then your chest towards the top of the mat. So you want to create space, and then you twist. Eventually looking to the right, feel the breath calming down, the space being created. With twisting, we're basically, if you think at the vertebrae level, so the vertebrae to the back, okay, imagine that. With twisting, we're basically narrowing one side and opening the other side. So this is why twisting for us could feel really good for one side and then not so good for the other side. So again, be cautious, be mindful. Go as far as you can go without creating pain, nerve pain, if you know what I mean. And we switch to the other side, sending the hips down, and then the chest or the thoracic spine up. You see that? So you're creating space, and then you twist. You always want to twist from a lengthened spine. Cool. Inhale to come out of it. Then, if you have a roller, like these bad guys, this is ideal because it will also create some traction, which is another thing that is good for spondy people in general. Otherwise, you can just place a block under your, quite low, under your glutes, but really quite low. And already that alone, you see what's doing? What we want to do. So the opposite of what we usually like to do, which is that. So it's doing that. Then on top, and the roller, the nice thing about it is that as you do that, it kind of creates some traction in your spine. It pulls, it kind of rolls down your glutes, so it lengthens your spine this way. So this is why I like to do this one with the roller, if you have one. Otherwise, go for the block and it's all good. This one just gives that little extra traction sensation. Don't stay here for too long. Just visiting the sensation. Again, for some people this will feel really good. For some people this will create pain. Because also we have to remember, it's not that we just have spondylolisthesis, or we just have a bulging disc, or we just have stenosis, or we just have, maybe some people have more than one thing. So you could have spondylolisthesis and also a bulging disc. So maybe this one is not so good for you. Whatever creates pain, especially with things to do with the spine, don't do it. It's as simple as that. So traction is good for me. I enjoy traction. Is basically this, what the block is doing, is sending my vertebrae away from each other through outside mechanical forces. For me it's good, maybe for you it isn't. So you just see. So maybe you would benefit more from doing this with a block because it just stays in place. Good. Removing all of this. And then we're going to have two options for our lovely Savasana today. So, one option is to have something that you can place, a cushion, a bolster, or there's even some leg raisers, I don't know if that's the name, but things that raise your legs. And you can place that under your legs and just relax there. This is going to be our Savasana for today. Stay there. Again, what are we doing? We are encouraging the not lordotic curve of our spine. We are encouraging the opposite. So this will usually give you loads of relief, and it's just very comfortable, and you can even go to bed like this, fall asleep like this. Another option, it's not so comfortable for everybody, but I'm going to show it anyways. I love it. It's the opposite. So in Shavasana, you should stay open. You should stay with your belly up. But for us, spondy people, this might be super, super, super comfortable. So, once in a while, if you want to do your Shavasana like this, I would just go for it. I just love this one. Make sure that you place it quite up, so it's on your belly, which for some people might be also, again, not so comfortable because it's squishing your organs there and all, but it's also a nice organ massage. You can think about it that way, why not? And then just make sure that if you're here, this is really good because it's opening the whole part of the lower back. It's giving me lots of relief. And I might not even be able to speak anymore because it's so good. So you can choose which one you want. Just make sure that if you do this one, you stay on one side for a bit, and then just remember to switch to the other side. We don't want to create any more imbalances in the body. I'm just going to face this way so I can speak to you. So choose one of these Shavasanas. Stay there for as long as you need to. Thank you so much for doing this practice with me. I hope that as a fellow spondy, we can help each other. So I hope I helped you in some way. I would love if you could help me back by putting a like, giving some love, or subscribing to the channel, sharing this with a friend. Or if you want to make it private, you can just send me a message and tell me how it went, or what you didn't like, what you did like. All these things, they help me to grow, and they also help me to stay motivated in creating more practices for you. So this one is very close to home because I have this thing myself. So it's just very nice to be able to share with you what I do to make it not go worse, and maybe even make it better. So thank you so much. Stay here for as long as you need to stay, and I'll see you on the next one. Namaste.